Hi, now I will explain about the SANGFOR WANO exchange acceleration. The WANO exchange accelerations accelerate the email protocol. For example of the protocol of POP, IMAP, SMTP, MAPI, and etc. Before we configure for the WANO exchange acceleration, first we must confirm the network, such as the WANO deployed as which mode in which IP segment, and the exchange server IP, and etc. Next, we will also need to confirm the version of the Exchange server, the domain server version, the client system version, Outlook version, the WANO version, authentication types, and etc. The version can be confirmed according to the table below. The environment that we are going to configure later will be the HQ WANO with working IP of 172.17.1.4 and the branch WANO working IP of 172.17.5.2. The deployment mode for both of the WANO will be the bridge mode, and the Exchange server working IP will be 172.17.1.9. As for the version for the Exchange server, we will be using the Windows Server 2008 R2 Enterprise Service Pack 1. For the client OS will be Windows 7 and the mail version will be Microsoft Outlook 2010. We will be using the client OS of Windows 7, the authentication method of NTLM that support the auto negotiation and delegation. Next, we will be configuring the WANO exchange acceleration environment according to this topology, where one WANO deploys as the HQ side with the working IP of 172.17.1.4 and the Exchange server attached to the HQ side of the WANO with the working IP of 172.17.1.9. Another WANO deployed as the branch side with the working IP as 172.17.5.2 and the client attached to the branch WANO with the IP address of 192.200.19.115. Next, we will make configuration according to this scenario where the client will send several attempts of the email and the HQ WANO will try to accelerate the email. The result can be seen through the reduction ratio. Step 1. We will need to configure the acceleration connection between the HQ WANO and also the branch WANO. First, access the HQ WANO. After accessing the HQ WANO, we will need to make configuration to the HQ WANO in order for the acceleration connection to be up. First, go to the WAN optimization under the server, go to user and create a new user for the branch WANO to access. In our case, we will be using the username of test and the password of 1234. Next, access the branch WANO. Go to WAN optimization under client. Under the peer WOC tab, click new to create a peer WOC. In our case, we use test with the username of test and the password of 1234. For the IP address, will be the IP address for the HQ WANO, which is 172.17.1.4. Click OK. And we can see here the acceleration is connected. Now go to the HQ WANO. The acceleration connection, the status is also connected. And now the acceleration connection between the HQ WANO and the branch WANO will be up and running. Step 2. We will need to configure the HQ WANO to join the domain of the Exchange server. Now go to System, under Network, go to the Windows domain. Under the configuration here, we need to configure in order for the HQ WANO to join the domain of Exchange server. Before configuring the domain, we will need to change the DNS. Under the section here, we must first empty the gateway of the management interface. And then the preferred DNS will need to change to 172.17.1.9, which is the working IP of the Exchange server. Click Save and Apply. And wait for the configuration to be success. Now access again the HQ WANO. Go to System, Network. We can see here the preferred DNS is now changed to 172.17.1.9. Go to Windows domain. If the user doesn't know the domain name and also the domain controller, we can check it at the Exchange server side. Now we access to the Exchange server with the IP address of 192.200.19.9. Click Start. Under Computer, right-click Properties, and we can see here the sf.com is the domain, and the full computer name is the domain controller. So for the domain name will be sf.com, and the domain controller will be ex2010.sf.com. Username will be administrator, and enter the password for the Exchange server. Click Join for the HQ WANO to join the domain. And we can see here the domain is joined successfully. Step 3. We will need to add a delegation user at the Exchange server and also a new delegation option at the HQ WANO side. First, we access to the Exchange server. Click Start. Administrative Tools. We choose for the Active Directory users and computers. Choose for the user that under the sf.com. Right click and create a new user. In our case, we will be using the user of WANO. Uncheck the first one and check for the cannot change password and never expired. For the password, we'll be using 1234. Click Next and Finish to create the user. Now right click the WANO user and choose Properties. We can see here the Delegation tab is unavailable. In order for the Delegation tab to be appear, we need to type a certain command at the command prompt. Click Start and choose the command prompt. and enter the command of set spn space -a space http/da server space followed by the name of the user we created just now, which is Wano. Press enter. And we can see here the object is updated successfully. Go back to the Wano user, right click and select Properties. Now the Delegation tab is already appear. Choose the Delegation tab and choose for Trust this user for delegation and check the Use any authentication protocol. Click Add and click the user or computer. Click the Advanced button and next click the Find Now. Under the search result, we choose for the EX2010. Click OK and OK again. Under the service types here, scroll down and we choose for the service type of Exchange MDB. Click OK and apply. Now the delegation user at the Exchange server is already created. After adding a new delegation user at the Exchange server, we will need to add a new delegation option at the HQ Wano side. Now access the HQ Wano. Before adding the delegation option, we will need to synchronize the system time to the Exchange server. That the time must be at most 30-second interval with the Exchange server. Go to the NTP server. If the user has the NTP server, we suggest them to use it, or else just leave it empty. Click Save and Apply. Go back to the system time and we must synchronize it with the Exchange server. We can see here the time zone will be UTC +8 Kuala Lumpur, Singapore. The date will be 2015 June 15 and the time will be 12:06. Now go back to the HQ Wano again to change the system time. UTC +8 2015 June 15. For the time must be at most 30-second interval with the Exchange server. We will be using 12:07. Click Save and Apply. After that, access the HQ Wano again. Go to System. Under Network, go to Windows Domain. For the delegation option, click New to create a new delegation option. The domain name will be sf.com and the username will be the delegation user we created in the Exchange server, which is Wano with the password of 1234. Click OK to create a new delegation option. Step 4. After adding a new delegation option at the SANGFOR side, we'll need to import the certificate from the Exchange server and enable the delegation mode at the SANGFOR. Now go to WAN optimization. Under the certificates, at the server certificate side, we'll need to import the certificate at here. Now go back to the Exchange server, click Start, Run, and type mmc.exe. After that, choose File and select Add or Remove Snap-in. Choose for the certificate snap-in, click Add. Manage the certificate for the computer account and the local computer. After that, expand the certificate, choose for the personal folder, and select Certificate. Choose for the EX2010 certificate. As we can see that it is issued by the SF to the EX2010. Right click or Test and choose Export. Export with the private key and select the Include All certificate. For the password will be 1234. We export it at the Exchange server desktop. After that, we copy the certificate to our local computer. Go back to the SANGFOR. Under the server certificate, click New. For the destination IP will be the IP address for the Exchange server, which is 172.17.1.9, and the destination port will be 443. For the other setting, leave it default. Browse for the certificate we pasted just now. And the password will be a password we entered just now, which is 1234. Click OK to import the certificate. After finish importing the certificate, we will need to enable the delegation. Now go to the application proxy. Under the Exchange tab, for the protocol, we choose the delegation. After that, click Save and Apply. And the delegation now will be up and running. Step 5, we will now test the acceleration. Go to Status, WAN Optimization, and the acceleration connection is connected. And for the application, we can see that there is no exchange. Now we remote to the client account and send an email, check for the acceleration. Enter the recipient and attach an attachment and attach a file. The file we attach is 5 MB. Click Send. And now go back to WANO. Under the application, click Refresh. We can see here the reduction ratio is 6%. Now we go back to a client side and send another email with the same attachment. Click Refresh. And we can see here the second attempt is already increased to 52%. Now go back to the client and we send again the third time with the same attachment. Click Refresh. We can see here the reduction ratio increase again to 68%. Go back to the client, send again the fourth time with the same attachment. Click Refresh. The reduction ratio now is already increased to 75%. Now we can assume that the exchange acceleration is already up and running. So that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching.